Welcome to InspireHer, a powerful, purposeful, driven program designed to uplift, equip, and inspire women to rise above limitations and embrace their full potential. Broadcasting from the School of Eloquence right here in Ikoyi, Lagos State. You're watching us on the AchievementChannel, Nigeria's first and 100% TV station, and I'm your host, Onome Igugu. Joining me is my co-host, Esther Evbodaghe, a seasoned finance professional, entrepreneur, and mentor with over 2 decades in the banking sector, known for empowering women and youth through financial literacy and faith-based initiatives. And with us is also Isioma Utomi, a top-tier leadership coach, productivity expert, and CEO of Catalyst Experience Solutions, helping visionary leaders achieve peak performance through focus, purpose, and innovation. Today's episode is all about building a personal brand, standing out in a competitive world, in a marketplace where talent is abundant. Your personal brand can set you apart. We'll explore how to identify unique strengths, craft a compelling narrative, and confidently showcase your skills to open doors of opportunity. This is more than a show. It's a movement to inspire, equip, and transform lives. So sit back, engage, and let's inspire her. All right, there's a saying that you don't build a personal brand by saying you want to build a personal brand. So some people are of the opinion that you have to be skilled. But let's start from the very beginning. What is personal branding? I would like to start with Isioma.
So it's very important to have a personal brand, especially in this day and age, to stand out. So when people typically might think of a personal brand, they might think maybe your appearance and how people see you in public. But a personal brand, especially as a leader, is how you're consistently experienced. So it's not necessarily just how you think about yourself, but it's how other people experience you. So whether it is the type of person you are in a meeting, how people can approach you, how approachable you are, how you interact with others, how you add value, those things are extremely important to your own personal brand. And since my area is leadership development, I find a lot of times that you have to think about the value that you're bringing to the table. You have to think about the vision that you're projecting. This is what I want to achieve. And of course, the voice you're using, how you're presenting yourself as a thought leader, all those are factors of your personal brand and how people see you.
Well, a lot of times people mistake personal branding as in logo, as in color. And I think a lot of people have this opinion that branding has to do with colors, branding has to do with a logo. So I want to start my branding. First thing is like, oh, I need to get a designer. The person needs to come up with a logo, needs to come up with colors. So what is the concept of logo? What's the concept of colors? How did it all begin? Because we need to understand the connection. Now you're talking about values. Now we're talking about skills. Let's start from the very beginning. Is there a misconception? We need to, if there is actually, then we need to correct it. So we'll understand if there are people out there making a mistake or it's all part of personal branding.
You know, us talking about personal branding is just telling the world who you are, showing the world who you are, you know, what you do and why it matters, or why, you know, it's important, or the difference that you make. Building your personal brand is showing intentionally, making people to perceive you the way you are, your unique voice, for instance, your personality, your, you know, what you do differently. That's what people are looking at when you talk about your brand. And branding is about confidence. You cannot separate confidence from branding. Because when you are talking about branding, people want to see what makes you stand out, for instance. So talking about logo and all that, they are very important because people, you don't want to be mistaken for someone else. You don't want people to assume, when they call your name, people want to know who that person is, and your personal brand is what tells
that story.
Yes. Of who you are. So it's very important to build personal brand, and in building your brand, you must exhibit some confidence because that's what people are looking out for. So when you have a logo, for instance, the logo should speak about who you are and what you stand for. You know, so your personal brand, I would say, it's the image you project both online and offline, the authentic you, that make people remember you when they hear your voice or when they hear your name.
Okay.
So that's your personal brand.
Okay, so Isioma, do you agree with Madam Esther?
Yeah, and I'd like to tie back to the example you gave about logos. So there's obviously a correlation between like product branding and personal branding. So if you think about a product like Coca-Cola, for instance, even if a bottle is on the shelf far, far away, you instantly recognize that red and that white.
Yes.
They've been using those colors for what, the last 100 years?
Yes.
That's part of their brand and they're recognized for it. And so the thing that, you know, connects both is consistency.
Yeah.
It is because they've been using that consistently over time that you recognize it as part of your brand. So the same thing with you as an individual. When you're developing your personal brand, what is it that people see about you consistently? So for some people, it is part of it is the appearance. But more importantly, I would argue as a leader, it is what you project in terms of the value that you are bringing to the table and being consistent in that value that you're bringing. So that's the true factor that makes you a strong personal brand.
Okay, so earlier on when we started this conversation, I talked about being skilled, that there's no personal branding without being skilled. And going back to your statement on value. So is it possible for an individual to actually say, I want to rebrand myself, or I want to brand myself and I have no skill? And if not, where does that individual start from?
So I would argue that everyone has inborn talents.
Okay.
It's how you can upskill yourself and you can refine them to add value to others. That is the real differentiation. So everyone starts with something. Everyone has a God-given gift. But how you express that, how you add value to others through that gift, that is where you can build your personal brand. And so whether it is, you know, I'm the best at makeup, or I'm the best at, you know, leadership development. All those things are things that people value. And so your ability to project that value, to position yourself as someone with authority in that field, that is what can help you create that personal brand.
So why is personal branding important today?
Well, I'll say that branding is important because it helps you stand out.
Okay.
You know, we are in a crowded space. You are not the only talented person, whatever you do. So your personal brand helps you to stand out. You know, it helps people know what you do differently. And in building your personal brand, you must ensure that you build confidence. It's like saying in getting wisdom, get understanding. You can't do without, you know, building confidence, or you are building your personal brand. And in building your personal brand, you must ensure that you define your message. Be clear about who you are, what you do, and what you do differently. You know, building personal brand, you know, gives you control. It enables you to be able to tell your story your own way. You don't want people to describe who you are or maybe say what you do wrongly.
Yes.
So that is why you need to be in control, because when you build your personal brand, you are able to tell your own narratives the way you want it. And building a personal brand is very important because it inspires other women. When your brand is very strong, you become an inspiration to other women. You become a role model to them. So that is why it's important to build your personal brand.
So my question now is building a personal brand compulsory? Because I know that we live in the social media age. Everybody wants to be out there. Everyone wants to be known for something. I understand that we're also inspiring her, but we also need to understand that there are people out there who might not be like, oh, I don't think I need this exposure. I want to inspire other women, but I don't think I need to go this social media route, because everybody's on social media, everybody's talking, everybody's intelligent, because that's the age we live in right now. Everybody goes up to read something online. We come up online and we're like with our phones and we are reading one thing or the other, and everybody's sounding very intelligent and smart. So my question is, for individuals who might not want to go a certain route or the norm that everyone sees the personal branding, should I say trajectory now as, right? How then do they go about it? I want to encourage the woman out there, but I don't want to go this route. How do they go about it?
So I would argue that personal branding is necessary for everyone now, but the manner in which you do it has to be authentic to you. Not everybody has to be on TV screens everywhere, every week. It's not the same for everyone.
Okay.
The primary purpose that people use personal branding now for is for career growth. how do you want to progress, especially earlier in career. For if you're later in career, a lot of times it's molded into making your legacy. Earlier career, a lot of times the main focus is like, I want new opportunities, I want to grow, I want to earn more money. Those tend to be the motivations usually earlier in a career, and that's perfectly all right. And so at that point, you have to think, what makes sense for me? What makes sense for me in telling my own story? I was having a discussion earlier, and we were talking about how many women still, both men and women, but historically, many women expect that if they work hard, that they will get these opportunities. Unfortunately, just working hard alone is not enough. You also have to be shown working hard. It's that, this old boy kind of example where, you can work very hard, but if you're not in the right rooms and things like that, you don't get those opportunities. And so now personal branding wraps very much into that, because you now think about, I'm working hard, but what do I want to be known for? You also have to display, this is the value that I'm bringing to the table. So when somebody is, again, talking about how people are experiencing you, when someone is talking about you in another room, do they just say, oh, she's a hard worker? Or do they say, she brought in 100 million last year? You want to be really specific about what you want to be known for in that organization. And your personal branding is that part of your narrative, telling your story. And it's important to shape your narrative, or someone else will shape it for you.
Exactly. So how can people leverage on social media platforms?
The social media is a powerful stage. So people right now, it's like I see social media like, God giving me a gift, bringing an entire office right in the palm of my hand, and telling me to dream, create, and connect to the world. So women don't have any reason now not to be able to, build their personal brand and tell their stories their own way. So I see social media play a very powerful role in enabling you, to share your narrative, to tell people, showcase your skill and tell people what you do and what you do differently. So social media for me is one of the powerful tools that you can use, in building your brand.
Interesting. So now we're talking about leveraging social media.
Yes.
So let's start from ourselves, okay? Talking about personal branding and how you are leveraging social media to building your own brand. So we'll start from Isioma. Let her share her own experience of building her own brand with social media.
Sure. And just like you said, social media is an extraordinarily powerful tool that we all have access to in this area. But it's important to be strategic about how we use it. So it's one thing to be on Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere, and you can be, but you're most likely don't have a team doing it. Unless you do, you might. Exactly. So you want to be a little more focused in terms of where you use your time. Think about where is your target audience. If you want to be a thought leader in a professional field, most likely it's LinkedIn. That's where you will find people in your field, and that's where you can display the authority you have in the field of your choice. If, for instance, you're in a more creative field, like for instance, if you're in beauty, Instagram might be the perfect platform for you because it is extremely good for visuals. And so you have to think about those things. What am I trying to project? What kind of a story I'm trying to project? What is the platform that works best for me? So for instance, I'm in leadership development, and so LinkedIn is perfect to meet thought leaders in a variety of sex and marital fields who are trying to raise their own visibility, who are trying to stand out as leaders, and who are trying to drive results. And that's exactly what I do. And so therefore, we are on the same playing field. So you want to be where your audience is and where you can deliver the most value. So I think those are some of the important factors you should think about when deciding on a platform to focus on.
Okay,
Just to add a quick word to add to what Isioma just mentioned, it's important for women to know the right platform for the right purpose. Because a lot of people need to know that TikTok or YouTube is just for learning and for teaching and entertainment and entertaining, and it's also good for building loyal audience. And like she said, Twitter is good for thought leadership, joining conversation, and Instagram, you can use that as well it's good for wellness, lifestyle, and all that. You also have your personal website or your blog, where you can showcase your works and all that. So people need to know the right platform for the right purpose. When women understand that, they know that social media is not just for entertainment, that social media can enable you to project yourself the way you want the world to perceive you. So choosing the right platform for the right purpose is
Very
key.
necessary.
Yes.
So, okay, so we need to go on a short break. When we come back, we will continue this conversation.
Thank
Do
you.
stay tuned.
Do you feel terrified when speaking before a group? Are you stressed when asked to present? Do you bore people when speaking? Are you stuck with reading word for word? How do you give a speech with polish? Learn how at the School of Eloquence.
The home of public speaking. Attend our practical coaching in public speaking. Call 0802 303 2066 or log on to schoolofeloquence.org.
School of Eloquence, teaching the world to speak.
All right, you're welcome back to InspireHer, and we are continuing the conversation on building your personal brand. This time around, we're talking about the key elements of a personal brand. We've been talking about what personal branding is. We've been talking about the social media platforms that is best for you. And now we are talking about the key elements of a personal brand. So I want Isioma right now to brand me. So if I were to ask you to rebrand Onome, right, where do you start from? What are the key elements you would look out for?
So I always say, start with yourself. Self-awareness is a huge part of your personal branding. Most people leap directly into colors, into the visuals.
Yeah.
But it really starts with knowing who you are and what you want to represent. Are you in a growth phase in your career? Are you seeking new opportunities? What do you want to be known for primarily? So for instance, if you're an engineer early in your career, the things you want to be known for, you think about projects you've worked on. What do you enjoy working on? Will you be talking about those? Will you be talking about projects that you would like to work on? If you're further along in career, you might be more thinking about sharing your life story, sharing your experiences, sharing how you have supported others, how you've grown, and creating a legacy. So you have to know what it is you want to share to begin with. You have to be very clear on your values. What is important? What do you actually want people to gain from the experience? Remember, you have to think with the end in mind. And of course, the platform where you want to share that knowledge. Many people try to do everything all at once. I usually recommend starting with a platform that makes the most sense for the audience that you want to reach, and of course, with the message that you want to project. And then of course, finally, think about the time you want to devote to it, because it does require time. It requires time, energy, resources. If maybe you have a whole team helping you do it, excellent. You can probably spend a lot more of those resources doing that. But if you are starting out by yourself, like most people are, dedicate time to it. I do a lot of work around habit building, and you, just like anything that you want in life, you have to dedicate time to it. And so if it's twice a week that you've said, I will be posting on LinkedIn twice a week, put it in your calendar like you would any meeting, and dedicate time to that each week. Like anything related to branding, you have to be consistent. It's about what you are consistently known for. And so if you want to be known on any platform, you have to be consistent on that platform. So don't go too crazy at the beginning, but start small and be consistent, and you can build from there.
All right, interesting. I like what you said, because for some people, like you said, it can be very overwhelming. So you post once a week, and probably in the next 2 months, they don't find you online, and you come back after 2 months and you're expecting people to engage with your content. But like you said, it's more or less like putting systems in place to ensure that you achieve your goal. So if you have a calendar because a lot of people might not understand it, except you are very good with social media. So you have a calendar, you say, oh, I'm going to post twice a week. And beautiful enough, most of these platforms, you can actually schedule your posts. Right? So you schedule the post. You don't have to post exactly 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, right? You can schedule that post to do it itself. The platform does it itself, and you're good to go about your normal activities, just like we are here. And probably some of our posts are being posted online because it's already scheduled. So that's something we also need to put in place.
It's important for people to know what a comparing narrative is, or the key elements.
Yes.
A comparing narrative or a key element is the chance to quickly and clearly and confidently describe who you are, what you do, and what you are good
values
at.
you bring in.
Yes, in 30 to 60 seconds. And you have to be brief and clear. And like Isioma just said, there are things that the person you are talking to is looking out for when you are talking about key elements. They want to know who you are, what you do, why it is important, what you are doing now, and what you are looking for. You must make it brief and friendly, and you speak like you would in real conversation. That is very important. So those are mainly the key elements
Okay.
of comparing a
Narrative. Okay, so how can women confidently market themselves?
Women can confidently market themselves by, let's say you are in a group, for instance, you belong to a group of women or something. They say charities begins at home. So you don't really need to go and talk about what you do to somebody you have not met before. So you start with people who live in your neighborhood. You start with your colleagues, your families, and your friends. And for you to market yourself very effectively, you have to be clear and you have to be confident. Because if you don't have confidence and you are not clear about who you are, you will not be able to market yourself in a convincing manner.
Yes.
And you have to speak, with confidence. Don't use words like maybe or I'm not sure. People don't want to buy a product they are not sure of. And you have to be able to network, maybe in your neighborhood, or you join some online groups where women are networking. And at any opportunity you have to speak at any event, you don't just go there and you interact with people. Speak up and let them know what you do. That is also very key. Yes. So that way you find out that you'll be able to market
yourself confidently.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people have challenges with the concept of marketing or selling themselves. So if that is the case, I'd encourage you to look at it from a point of view of how can I add value? Because if you think about it from the perspective is, I'm not trying to push something on someone. I have a gift to give. And I want you to be able to see me so I can help you solve this problem that you have. And in that way, you are doing something for the benefit of someone. You're not pushing a product on them. You are promoting something that adds value to them. But they need to see you to know that you have that value that they can bring. And so, like anything else, and I love what she said about being confident and being able to show yourself in that manner. But recognize for a lot of people, it just doesn't happen instantly from day one. We're all not perfect out the gate with our perfect pitch, 30 seconds.
Yes.
So I'm a big believer of continuous learning and improvement. So you try your pitch, you try with a couple of people. How can you improve it? How can you, the next time you're in a group, you can change it up each time. Like, the way it sounded the first time didn't work out nicely, I'll try it again. And so the more consistently you try it, we're back to consistency again. The more consistently you try it out, the better you get at your pitch. People who have great pitches, it did not just happen overnight.
True. Right.
They most likely have been pitching for days, for weeks, for months, for years. The people you see like on TV who can, you give a pitch on like Shark Tank or one of those big shows, they've been practicing. It just didn't happen like that. So don't be too hard on yourself. Take that opportunity, learn how to share what it is you're doing, the value that you are bringing, and the more consistently you do it, the better you will be at it.
I like the fact that you just reiterated what she said initially, talking about learning, because a lot of people would go online, see a couple of people that they admire, but they're afraid to start thinking, oh, this person has it all figured out, this person is so perfect at what they do, where do I start from? But I like the fact that both of you mentioned that it has to do with continuous learning and improvement. So if it means you have to stand in front of your family members and just keep playing that over and over again, demonstrating in front of them what you intend to do, take corrections, and of course there will be improvements. All right, so as we wrap on personal branding, don't forget you can follow us on all social media platforms by connecting with us at Achievement Channels on IG, Facebook, X, and of course, YouTube. My name is Onome Igugu again, and with me in the studio we have Madam Esther as well as Isioma Utomi. So as we wrap up the conversation, we'd like to just briefly give a key takeaway so that our viewers can just take one should I say, key point as we wrap up the conversation on personal branding?
Branding, I would just say, be visible. Ensure that you are visible in what you're doing, and you ensure that you exhibit confidence. That way, you'll be able to put your business on the spotlight.
Be visible and have past
confidence.
Yes. Another key point is past value. Yes. All right, because it's possible for you to actually be visible and you're not communicating something of value. And I feel that when there is no value in what you're giving out, then there's also always going to be a disconnect. So be visible, be confident, and as well communicate value to your audience. All right, Isioma?
I would say that consistency is key. If you want to be known as a brand, to have your own personal brand, it needs to be what you are showing to others consistently, that value that you are bringing consistently. And it's important to remember to be authentic to yourself in the end, because the closer it is to your true self, your true personality, the more authentic it will be for others and people will connect with it.
Be authentic. I love it. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
My name is Oluwagbemisola Ojedokun. I'm a full-stack website developer. Keep watching Achievement Channels.
My name is Mrs. Imelda Ahunosuji. You can call me Madam Modesty. Please keep watching Achievement Channel.